Hello, and welcome to Back to School Night. I'm Mrs. Rodriguez, and I'm looking forward to teaching your calculus students this year. I can't wait to return back to live instruction in person, but for now, I think our Canvas and Zoom sessions have been going really, really well. So I'd like to take this opportunity to walk you through what a day-to-day class is like for calculus. I'm going to share my screen, and which is something that I do often with your students, with your children. And I'm going to take this time to walk you through our Canvas page. Okay. So I don't believe you all have access to it yet, but I think that that is something that's coming. And I remind students to always remember to go back to the homepage anytime that they kind of have gotten to a place in Canvas that they can't figure out how to get back out of. So the homepage for me is simple. It's just our modules. And this is essentially walking them through the curriculum and all of the important things that we would have in class. So first and foremost, the Zoom link is always up top. I use my personal meeting number, and that way they can access me for any of our class times or any kind of office hours that they wish to have with me. The second thing is the PDF version of the textbook that will always be there, and suggested additional homework problems. These are not the mandatory graded assignments. This is just in case somebody needs a little extra help in any given section or chapter. The next module that will always remain up top as well is our office hours. So I have my office hours listed here. During the fall season, I coach girls soccer, so I'm not available for these scheduled ones, but I created additional office hours here. So at all of these times, I am available through Zoom, or if a student can't meet during those times, they're free to let me know and we can schedule a different time. I have created a little survey that allows them to sign up for office hours, so I am notified when and if they need help. The first module, this was kind of our first day of school, first week or so, and this is where all of the syllabus, we have some community building activities here, my welcome page, and their first few assignments, which was to fill out a student information sheet for me, introduce themselves using a video discussion, and then their pre-calc review packet. So we've completed this at this point, and we'll be moving into module 2 limits this week. So I'm going to go through the syllabus with all of you. The nice thing with Canvas, they always upload and give you a preview here, but you do have the option to download documents to your own computer. Okay, so the syllabus here for regular calculus includes, of course, my name, email, website for Canvas, office hours, as I've already shown you, textbook. So they could have picked up their textbook already, and if they weren't able to, they still can let me know if they want a hard copy of the textbook. Again, the PDF is available though. I expect them to come to class, whether it's a Zoom or in person, prepared. So that most likely would mean a pencil, a notebook or binder, some kind of note-taking system, and a graphing calculator. If they don't have a graphing calculator, it is okay to use the Desmos app on their phone or iPad or computer or whatever device they're using currently. With virtual learning, there's 4 steps that we're going to be following this year. Whether we stay virtual, go hybrid, or be full person, I think I'm going to continue to do this model even in the classroom. It essentially is a flipped classroom for me. So they have 4 processes that they need to follow. 1 is watch, read, 2 is do, 3 is confer, and 4 is assess. So typically the watch read is going to be the homework. That's where they're going to be paying attention and watching my pre-recorded lessons for each section. And those videos are 15 to 20 minutes. And during that time, they should be taking notes as if it's a regular class. I post outline versions of the notes that they can choose to use, but they don't have to. They can just take notes as they like in their notebook. The do happens in class, in our Zoom sessions or in person. And these would be your typical homework, right? But they're the problem sets, they're the worksheets, that's the practice. That way we can do those things together, go through questions, go into small breakout rooms, and I can make sure that they're fully understanding during that time. Confer, this is something that might happen in class, not in class. This could be the discussions that we have, both in class, in whole group, or in breakout rooms, or it could be the discussion posts that I assign every few sections. And then the assess would be any type of assessment ranging from a mini quiz to a discussion board to a chapter test, or maybe even a project. In terms of rules in classroom conduct, I'm pretty simple. Respect is the utmost important, and that kind of ties into every little micromanaged rule that we could come up with. But first and foremost, we're respecting each other. Being on time, right? Making sure that we're logging onto our Zooms at the scheduled time. Being prepared, and effort. For me, everything is effort, right? So they might not, it might not come easy to them all the time, but if they keep on trying and they show me that they are willing to put in that work, then I'm absolutely going to go the distance for them as well. Okay, I'll show you the grading in a second. Absenteeism, it's really the same policy as if we were in person. So we still have doctor's appointments and we still get sick, and all of those things are still going to happen. And of course that's acceptable. Just make sure that you're letting me know as early as possible, and then also letting the attendance office know at the high school. And when I talk about academic integrity with them, you know, it's at this point, we're all home, we're in our own space, and of course anything could be going on. So I ask them to think about themselves in terms of their character, right? In terms of those traits that we really want to possess and we really want to portray to our family members, to our friends, to our future employers, and somebody that, you know, takes other people's homework or copies things, or, you know, has multiple screens up and is essentially cheating. That's not who they really want to be as people. So just to make sure that they always kind of do that character check and are living up to the best person that they can be. And I'm very, very lenient and forgiving. If things aren't coming easy to them and they're not understanding a topic, have them reach out to me and we can work on maybe a revised due date for something or a different assessment date for them. Okay, now I'm going to show you the grading policy as per our department head. Okay, it is a category approach, and we have, following the same guidelines that I just showed you how the class would be ran, would be a watch section. So those are those notes that I was talking about. That makes up 10%. A do section. So this would be small projects. Maybe the discussion board comes in here. The group and partner work in class. Problem sets, homework. Small presentations perhaps. Okay, so all those things could be in that category. Then we have the assess. It's broken up into two different chunks. Okay, we have formative assessment, which is just typically your smaller quizzes, right? It could be even as simple as an exit slip or some kind of a survey. Are they understanding things? And then the summative assessments, more of a larger scale, end of chapter test or long-term project, long-term assignment, things like that is 30%. And the confer, this could be our discussion groups. This could be one-on-one conferencing. This could be small group meetings. This is another 15%. So in Canvas, when I create assignments, I automatically assign them to one of these categories. And I've gone through that with the students so they have an idea of what each problem type would fall into.
I'm having trouble doing 14. I can't figure it out.
Oops.
The top one, it says what to add.
Okay, so we have our community building activities in here, and we'll work on those from time to time. I have a welcome page that I don't use as much. I really like to have just the modules up in front so it's more organized. And then, like I said, these are the assignments that we've already completed this time. I'm going to show you what a typical chapter would look like, and we call them modules in Canvas. So module 2 is set up for chapter 2, which is limits. I'll always have the learning objectives as my first tab under a module. And then I will always have the outline version of the notes. They can choose to print these, download these, use these, or not, and that's up to them, but they're all available. Then I would have my video posted, and their expectation is to watch this and take notes at the scheduled time. I upload through YouTube, so we should never have any issue with the platform crashing. Then they would post their notes, right? They would submit them for a grade. Then there would be a problem set. And I encourage them to take a peek at it before class, before the assigned or the specific Zoom session is that we would be going over it. But this is something that we do in class. We do a whole group or we do small breakout rooms, and we make sure we work through the majority of these problems together. And then they're expected to submit their assignment either the next day or whatever the due date is. Okay, so this is going into section 2.2. There's a couple of other components that would come up in a chapter. I would like to show those before we conclude here. So 2.2 is where we started to head into. It's very similar to 2.1. And then there's a mini quiz already ready to go for 2.2 and 2.1. Typically, assessments are going to be during our live Zoom classes. And the other component that we're going to have, every couple of sections, I'll have a discussion where they're going to record themselves completing a problem, explaining it to their classmates and myself, and then they need to respond to two of their peers with a commendation and a recommendation. And most of those assignments are what make up an entire chapter. So I will keep the same structure so that we get a real rhythm going. And I think that it's going to be beneficial for our students to be able to ask questions in class and go through those examples, because that's something that a lot of times they have to do at home and then they're struggling through their homework. So I do love the idea of a flipped classroom. And now that we have the infrastructure in order to support that, we all have our Wi-Fi set up at home and we have the devices in order to watch these videos in an equitable way. So I'm looking forward to a wonderful school year with this calculus class. It's a group of kids that I love working with. Juniors and seniors in our building are phenomenal. They're all hardworking and motivated, and it's great to be able to work with them and really focus on some of their passions and interests and where they're headed in their future years. So I really, really do enjoy that, and I'm looking forward to a wonderful year. Thank you. Have a great night.